Moved by Councillor Moffat, seconded by Councillor Hudson. Resolved that the special meeting commence at the hour of 6 p.m. And be it further resolved that Council acknowledges that we are meeting in the Robinson's Barrier Treaty area on lands that have been traditionally used by several Indigenous nations. But we would like to pay special recognition to our closest Indigenous neighbours, the communities of Itagon, Nishnabik, and Ikmogrit First Nations. We wish to recognize the long history of the First Nations and Métis people in our region specifically and show respect to them today. All in favour? Call the meeting to order. Moved by Councillor Hudson, seconded by Councillor Moffat. Resolved that the agenda be approved and circulated. All in favour? And could you read
this special meeting is held by Council to receive oral and written submissions related to the proposed new official plan and new comprehensive zoning bylaw for the Township of Manitowoc. The revisions and updates using the 1986 official plan was initiated in 2021 with community, provincial, and agency consultation. In addition to this extensive input, the current draft 2022 official plan includes new legislation and provincial policy statement updates. On consideration, further Council-approved changes can be made before the draft 2022 official plan is adopted. This will rescind and replace the 1986 in effect official plan. The notice for this special meeting dated July 29, 2022, and updated with rescheduled meeting dated September 21st, 2022, indicated that Council would receive written submissions in support of or in opposition to the proposed official plan and would also provide members of the public to make oral statements during the meeting. Council members will not enter into any debate but may ask questions for clarification. All of Council, administration, and Shannon Dodd-Smith, retained planner for the Township, will be available to respond to questions and comments from the public. Both oral and written submissions will become part of the public record.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair, I'd like to introduce this evening Shannon Dodd-Smith, who's joining us by Zoom. And we met Shannon about a year ago when we put an RFP out for the official plan and zoning bylaw. And Shannon owns and operates Superior Consulting out of Thunder Bay. And she has led us through this very complicated and extensive process to the point now where we'll present to you tonight the final draft of the official plan. The Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing has already received the draft, and we are awaiting final comment from them. But at this point, I'll turn it over to Shannon, who can go through the document with us.
Thank you very much, Florence. I'm going to be referring to my notes on a different screen, so if you're trying to get my attention by waving at me or something, I may not see you, so please interrupt me, and I'll pause periodically so you can jump in if you need me to slow down or repeat or anything like that. Thank you very much for having me tonight. I know it's a sort of a requirement. Well, it is a requirement, but nonetheless, it's an absolute pleasure to see you, and I want to extend my congratulations to those of you on council that are happily staying on, and those of you who are happily perhaps moving on to have more time in your life very soon. So I will start actually, before I go over this summary, which you all have anyway, so I won't read it, but I thought it might be helpful to go back to basics and just very quickly describe what, if I can find it, here we go. What an actual official plan is. So it is a guiding set of legal policies. Now, I've heard from two different lawyers. One says an official plan is a legal document, the other doesn't. So there's still some debate about the legality of a plan because it's policies. The zoning bylaw, which implements the official plan, is truly a legal document. In any case, the official plan sets out the rules to guide physical development, like buildings and sidewalks, roads, trails, public spaces, hospitals, schools. You get the idea. In your community, while protecting the important things such as water bodies and groundwater, archaeological resources, cultural heritage resources, ecological functions, mineral resources, forestry, agricultural resources, and other things that the municipality may view as being important that may not have been listed. So the official plan helps separate built land uses that do not work well together, and it locates compatible uses together. So physical development is actually considered to be permanent, so therefore it needs to be done in a thoughtful way and in accordance with the values of the community. So, and also, of course, in accordance with provincial laws. So the official plan brings all of those things together, and hats off to the municipality, because the township shaping and the community exploration, was truly fantastic, and that's how we kicked things off last November. It's almost been a year to the date almost, and we employed a number of different methods to outreach to the community. So I think you're fairly familiar with those. Pardon me. I think there are about 18 distinct different events and activities. That's including some of the ongoing ones. So there were some periodic ones that were targeted to certain age groups, to be sure we captured everybody, and people of all abilities. There were online activities, and then of course the documents were online for everybody to see the whole time, and they were welcome to provide comment the entire time. So we learned a little bit about the community, and I say a little bit because we didn't get a huge amount of feedback, but what we did hear back really did inform the basis of the policies that you'll see today. Your official plan, you actually started out with a very good official plan. It obviously needed, updating. I'll go over some of the key policies that may stand out to you as being new, like the short-term accommodation, provision of different lifestyle options. So, of course, the larger lots outside of the town site that can be used for agricultural, or cottage-type use. Protection from shoreline development all around Lake Manitouwadge. Rebranding of the downtown core. So it's now referred to the village center. Infill development is also included. Land use compatibility criteria, so it's going to be easier for you to make decisions on new land uses that we may not have heard of before. So it's a more flexible and resilient plan. There's a refined town site boundary. You'll see that, the settlement area boundary, to recognize rural area uses and to separate them. And any heavy industrial use is pushed to outside of the town site boundaries. The zoning bylaw is similar, of course, was similarly updated because it has to, as I mentioned before, implement those policies. So you'll see that there's a rural residential zone, remote cottage zone, a rural zone, which may have been there before, village center zone, and we also created a corridor mixed-use zone, and that's very similar to your corridor commercial zone. More flexibility, because what you want is a town that's ready for investment and ready for construction with minimal, I guess we'll call it process. Some people call it red tape. Process that is required every time. So council's next step will be to have the discussion that Jolene already mentioned. But then you're going to have to adopt the official plan. And within 15 days of that adoption, your staff will have to send the package to Municipal Affairs and Housing. So within those 15 days, if any new mapping concerns or any policy concerns are raised tonight, there is time for us to implement that and send it off. Tonight, once you hear from everybody and you're satisfied that the zoning bylaw, or excuse me, the comprehensive zoning bylaw is complete, then you'll also approve that tonight. So you're adopting the official plan because, as you know, it's the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing who approves it. From this point on, I will note that within 6 months of the approval, you will probably receive receive the ability to approve any official plan amendments in-house, any plans of condominium, any plans of subdivision, consents, of course. So all of that will be delegated or assigned to Manitouwadge. Typically, in the past, that legislation gets passed every 6 months from the point of the final approval. Because and I'll just pause here. Is everybody doing okay? Do you have any questions for me right now before I continue for my last bit? Everybody can hear okay?
Yep, you can carry on, Sharon.
So the approval will look a little bit different this time. The legislation requires a draft to be submitted to the ministry for a period of 120 days, at which point they would provide feedback on that draft. They weren't able to meet that deadline. We did meet with them twice at the very outset of this process to ensure that we have the latest mandate. So each municipality is responsible for a portion of the implementation of the provincial policy statement. So that is a high-level policy that is prepared under the Planning Act, that all municipalities, all decisions in the municipality, not just planning decisions, but all decisions must be consistent. So all decisions must be consistent with the provincial policy statement. Anyway, we already had most of that information, so I feel confident that you won't have too many red lines or minister's modifications, but because they didn't respond formally with any changes to the draft, you're submitting to them a final version that they will modify. So you'll receive back a decision that will have a list of modifications. Verbally, I understand there aren't many changes from the information they have received from the MECP and various other ministries. So I'm letting you know the process, that's all. And then your next step, once you receive the decision, which may not be for a while, they do have 120 days, and I don't know if they're staying on track. Once you receive the decision, then you just consolidate what they've written, and you post it online, and you're good to go. Until that point in time, your decisions still have to have regard to your draft document, because that's council's direction. It's not just council's direction, it is the community's direction. That is a community document. And so if somebody comes in and wants to do something, and it is, and you look at the official plan and it is supportive of that, then you can make your decisions a certain way. Or actually, you'll have to make your recommendation to the ministry, because they will still have approval authority until that time, but you are a key commenting agency when they consider applications. I'll stop talking there because it gets into the nitty-gritty of details, but I really did want to give you the context of how this document will be used. And your zoning bylaw, because if it does go forward and you do approve it tonight, that is effective immediately. I took a quick look at it, did a brief conformity review, and I feel comfortable that it actually does. It is consistent with the provincial policy statement, of course, and it does conform to the official plan, your existing one, the 1986 version. So I think you're good to go, which is why I'm recommending that you adopt and approve tonight the official plan and zoning bylaw, respectively. Any questions?
I just have one question on the affordable housing that's in there.
Okay.
So where it says the DSAB under one roof homelessness and house planning, is that to fall to the township or to the Manitouwadge Municipal Housing Corporation? Because they are under DSAB.
Yeah, so they would work hand in hand. Okay. They're an extension, from what I understand, an extension of the DSAB. Yeah. They implement all the DSAB's, mandate, from what I understand. However, they will also have to operate within the confines of the official plan. So, you would have to, if they're proposing a new development of some kind, it would have to be consistent with the official plan. Be consistent with the PPS and conform to the official plan. But the point here is promotion of affordable housing. So I don't anticipate any kind of issues.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Shannon, sorry to interrupt
Yes.
through the chair. Or your summary, that included some information about the comprehensive zoning bylaw, or did you have another component you wanted to add?
The summary actually contains all of the zoning bylaw, the key changes, the highlights. I should note that the official plan is a document that needs to be read in its entirety because not all of the policies that relate to, say, affordable housing are in one place. Sometimes it has to be in various places. So, or a site-specific issue may have multiple applicable policies. So please, when you're considering a development, you need to read the whole official plan. The zoning bylaws are different. You can hone in on different things. The summary of all the changes in the zoning bylaw, or most of them, are attached to my report. Is there something, Jolene, that you wanted me to highlight?
No. I just was following the agenda, and we had the information on official plan and information on the zoning bylaw. So I just wanted to see if we were moving on in the agenda, or if you were concluded with your summary.
Yeah, so I did consolidate the two, and I did talk about the zoning bylaw already. So it really, the more important changes are at the policy level because they're simply implemented then in the zoning bylaw. So it's, but I did touch upon them already, so I don't have anything new to add at this point in time on the agenda.
Great, thank you. So the chair will move to ask if there's anybody who would like to submit oral comment.
Okay, is there anybody that would want to submit oral comments? Seeing none?
Through the chair, I did not receive any written comments regarding the official plan or the zoning bylaw.
Moved by Councillor Hudson, seconded by Councillor Rolla, whereas Section 26(7) of the Planning Act requires Council by resolution to declare the official plan meets the requirements of Clause A, Clause B, and Clause C under Section 26(1) of the Planning Act. Therefore, be it resolved that Council of the Corporation of the Township of Manitowoc hereby declares to the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing that the official plan meets the requirements of Section 26(1) of the Planning Act, that it conforms with the provincial plan or does not conflict with them, as the case may be, as regards to the matters of provincial interest listed in Section 2 of the Planning Act, and is consistent with policy statements issued under Section 3(1) of the Planning Act. All in favour? Moved by Councillor Moffat, seconded by Councillor Hudson, whereas being a bylaw to adopt an official plan for the Township of Manitowoc be read a first and second time, and further be read a third time and passed as number bylaw 2022-41. All in favour? Moved by Councillor Rolla, seconded by Councillor Hudson, being a bylaw to regulate the use of land within the Township of Manitowoc be read a first and second time, and furthermore be read a third time, passed and numbered as bylaw number 2022-42. All in favour? Moved by Councillor Moffat, seconded by Councillor Hudson, being a bylaw to conform the proceedings of the Council of the Township of Manitowoc at the special meeting held Wednesday, October 26, 2022, be read a first and second time, and furthermore be read a third time, passed and numbered as bylaw number 2022-43. All in favor? Moved by Councillor Hudson, seconded by Councillor Moffat. Resolved that the special meeting adjourn at the hour of 6:20. All in favor?